Good morning, grade 11. Happy Monday. So you're going to watch the video and then you're going to try it by yourself. Right, activity 5.6.1. We're going to start at that one, page 122. You open the shop sales program from the report shop sales folder, and then there's a text file called sales.txt inside that folder. And the text file looks like this. It's got the name of an item and then a number. What does that number represent? It is the sales for bottled water is 32. In other words, that's the amount that was sold. That is an integer, the product name, and an integer for the number of sales. So in the on-click event, we're going to load the data. The on-click event of load data button. We're going to go to that button and we're going to test if the sales.txt text file exists. There it is. Double click. If not, file exists. Sales with a capital S.txt. Then what are we going to do if it doesn't exist? Well, I think we'll either terminate the program because the program's not going to be of any use otherwise. But first we'll show a message. No file found. Program will close. Well, I know my punctuation isn't correct. Application.terminate. I'm just doing this in a hurry. Make sure your messages that you display are always correct in grammar and spelling. Application.terminate. Semicolon. If you use exit, it will just close that btn load click event. But if it's all fine, we're going to use a text file. Text file variable and a string. And we will start reading from the text file. So we'll do a sound file, t file, comma, sales.txt, as we've always done. Reset t file so we can get ready for reading. And then while not end of file, t file, do begin and end. And we will read a line into s line. Read ln t file s line. Standard code there. So basically doing whatever they say. Yeah, we're going to read each line and process delimited text. What do they mean by delimited? It just means that text has been separated by a symbol or a delimiter. In this case, the delimiter is a hash sign. There's the hash. And we're going to go and display the name and then the number of sales using, make it look neat, like over here using #9, in other words, tab space. In our rich edit, yay, we're working with a rich edit, not a list box anymore, as in previous activities. So we need to get from this S line, what is S line going to look like? Like this. There's like the first line, okay, that's S line. We want to copy the name of the product into a product, a variable, okay, product. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to copy from the first character to the position of the hash -1. Okay, there's the hash, position of the hash, which is 14, -1, which will give us the number of characters. Start at 1, and in this case, that will be the number of characters we will copy. So here's the code. We must go and get our variable called sProduct, a string, and we will say S product equals copy from S line starting at 1. Number of characters will be the position of the hash in S line, okay, close brackets, minus 1, and then close brackets for the copy function. Then we will delete it. We're going to delete all of this. Delete. So what will happen is, but we also want to delete the hash as well. Like so. And then what we'll be left with is 72. That'll be left of S line. So SI quantity will be whatever S line is, but of course we're going to have to convert that to an integer. So take note, we deleted everything including the hash, so we just say delete. Delete is a procedure from S line starting at 1. The number of characters will be the position of the hash, like I showed you in that Excel spreadsheet. The position of the hash in this one is the number 14 over here. We want to delete all of that, so we're just left with the 72. So delete has 3 parameters as well: the string you're deleting from, the starting position, and the number of characters. And the number of characters translates to this position of the hash. And there it is. And then what have we got left with? Those numbers, which we have to convert string to int. S line must be converted to an integer, and then I quantity is there. We could have just left it at S quantity, didn't we? Because all we're going to do, we can't leave it as S quantity, because we're going to do a running total, etc. But anyway, what we're going to do with S product and quantity, we're going to now, this is each line of the text file. It's inside the while loop, okay? Each line we're going to go and display in a rich edit. So red out dot lines dot add. We're going to display the product, S product, join that to #9, and join that to our quantity, which is an integer, and we're converting it back to a string so we can display it. Now, is that what they say we must do? Let's have a look. Right, yeah, it does display the quantity. By the way, they've got product and sales headings over there, which we did not put in. We can go and put it in over here before you read from the text file. You can say already out dot lines dot add product plus #9 plus quantity. There it is. Right, and then maybe we can even add a blank line. Now rich edit line not, or we can use a empty line, or we can use a, like, you know, underline the headings. Nah. Okay, so there we go. Now this is very typical type of question for exams and tests, so pay attention and read through the video again, watch the video again if you get lost. Now we're going to calculate and display the total number of products sold. So inside our loop, while we are reading from each line and we're getting our quantity, what are we going to do with quantity? Why don't we go and have a total? Our total equals our total. We need a totaling variable plus our quantity. Well, our total, I haven't declared it, but where shall I declare it? Well, I'm going to declare it here in the button click event. Guys, you don't use global variables unless you absolutely have to. And I don't see any other button click needing to use our total. There's only one operation here, and that's that load button there. So our total is safe there, but we better make sure our total is equal to 0 before we start adding up. So before we go into our loop, we set our total equal to 0. so that when we adding up our total quantities, that we're actually going to start at 0. Otherwise it'll be a random number because it's a local variable. Local integers will have random numbers allocated to them. We also want to display the average number of products sold. Oh my word. Average sales, total sales, and average sales, for heaven's sakes. Well, we're going to have a counter. So we've got the total products sold, but we're also going to have a counter. Averages need counters and totalers. To calculate an average, you need to have how many things you're dealing with and what is the total for all those things. So how many things we're dealing with over here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 products. But you're not supposed to assume that. You have to realize text files can have hundreds of lines, so we don't know how many there are, so we've got to have a counter. So as well as a total variable, we need our counter. And as you know, all counters and totals must be initialized, or should I say set to 0 before we use them, and we'll just increment our count. Basically what this R count is doing is counting how many rows there are in the text file. That's all it's doing, really. But we're going to display a total and an average right over here. And no, we don't calculate the average inside the loop. The loop is only for us to get our total and our count. And outside the loop, then we go and display. And I'll put an empty line there. Total quantities into string I total. So now you've got an option. You can either decide you're going to calculate the average separately and then display it, or you can do the display and the calculation at the same time. I will get a variable called raverage, RAV, real, calculate my average and then display it. RAV equals, like I said, I quantity or I count divided by our total times by 100. Or do we want the percent? No, it's not a percentage. It's just our count divided by our total. We don't want a percentage. And then we say already out dot lines dot add average plus, but we're going to float to string and format our average to ff fixed at 8 and 1 decimal point, because I saw it was 1 decimal point there. Right, so let's hope this works, eh? Click the button. There's an error. I quantity, I never declared I quantity as a variable, did I? Okay, I did not. So there we go. Click. Now the formatting looks terrible, and our average is not correct. So let's see what's going on. Our total is fine. And our format. Let's first fix the formatting. What we're going to do is we're going to put in tab stops, okay, in our rich edit. So this is how we're going to do it. Before we go and display the headings, we'll go and say already out dot paragraph dot tab count. Now the tab count is only 1. There's only one #9. Okay, so we only have to worry about one tab stop. already out dot paragraph dot tab number, and it starts at 0. Well, we're going to guess what that will be, 100, and then we'll see. I don't like the fact that I've got 0 for my average. It's the other way around, that's why. So there's a nice neat formatting, but it's because my average is wrong. It's our total divided by the number of things that you have. Silly me. I've forgotten how to calculate average. Must be getting old. Oh, I forgot. Yes, I am old. Right, there we go. And now it's 100% correct. Right, now try this by yourself, and then you can move on to the next activity after that on the page.